When I was a kid and scared, my dad always told me not to fear ghosts, but to be wary of the living because they can harm you. In my late teens, my dad passed away, and I inherited some money from him. He and my mom owned a cabin near a mountain, but we had to sell it because my mom couldn't afford it anymore. The cabin would be put up for sale soon, and until then, it would sit empty. I saw this as a chance to take a break from everything that was happening, so I left my job, packed my snowboarding stuff, took my dog, and drove to the cabin in my dad's car. The first couple of days at the cabin were just like any other. I spent my time playing with my dog in the snow, snowboarding, playing video games, listening to music, and chilling out on the balcony with some drinks and cigarettes. I had enough food, cigarettes, and liquor, so I didn't need anything else. Sometimes I'd go out with my dog to ski, and I also enjoyed watching DVDs and playing PlayStation. It felt good to relax after all the drama before my trip. The cabin was tall and had 2 floors. Downstairs, there was a living room, a guest bedroom, and a small kitchen. Upstairs, there were 2 more rooms, and the master bedroom had a balcony. I usually stayed in the living room, kitchen, or master bedroom, and never went into the other rooms, keeping their doors closed. On the 3rd day, it snowed heavily, so I stayed inside with my dog, playing games and watching DVDs instead of going out. One day, around noon, I was outside with my dog when I saw what seemed to be footprints in the snow near our cabin. It was still snowing lightly, so the footprints appeared to be somewhat fresh, like someone had walked there about 20 to 30 minutes before me. I thought maybe someone else was staying in a nearby cabin that I hadn't noticed. Perhaps they were out for a walk like me. Anyway, the footprints went away from my cabin and vanished into the snowy forest. I didn't pay much attention to them and went back indoors. When it got dark, I decided to go to bed. My dog was lying with me on the bed. Suddenly, he perked up his ears and jumped off the bed, running downstairs to the living room. I stayed in bed, feeling scared. I could hear him moving around downstairs for about 5 minutes before he came back upstairs and started doing his dance, which means he needed to pee or go outside. I couldn't refuse him, so we went downstairs to the driveway. But instead of peeing, he tugged on his leash, wanting to go somewhere. He kept looking into the trees where there were marks, but also sniffing the house and looking at the roof. When he realized I wasn't going where he wanted, he sat down and stared into the dark. It was strange for him, but maybe he wanted to chase forest animals. I didn't want to chase anything, so I brought him back inside, and we went back upstairs. About 30 minutes later, I was lying in bed when I heard what sounded like hooves walking on my roof. It was only about 6 steps. I thought it might be a pine cone falling or a friendly forest animal. But here's the weird part. The steps seemed to be spaced apart, like a person walking. It really scared me. My pet also heard the noise and wanted to go outside. I thought I was tough and strong, so I decided to check it out. I grabbed my coat, shoes, cigarettes, and flashlight and went onto the balcony. I lit a cigarette and looked around with my flashlight, but there was nothing on the roof and the snow was undisturbed. It was strange. Maybe I was just imagining things. But what about my dog? Maybe he was picking up on my fear. I started to calm down and relax. As my eyes got used to the dark, I sat smoking and looking at the stars and trees near our cabin. Suddenly, I noticed something strange. There, in a tree just a bit taller than our cabin and about 20 feet away from the balcony, I saw what seemed like a person crouching between 2 branches. It was really tall, maybe 8 or 9 feet, and very thin. It perched on one branch, its long white arms stretched out above its head, holding onto the branch above, with its mouth wide open and no expression on its face. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I stayed still, not sure if it was real, while my dog started pacing and barking softly behind me. The strange figure didn't move at all. I put out my cigarette and thought about shining a light towards it, but something inside me warned against it. So I slowly backed into the room, bringing my dog with me. Once inside, I locked the door and shone the light towards the tree, but there was nothing there. I closed the curtains and went back to bed, feeling uneasy. Later that night, I heard soft tapping on the screen door, like someone tapping on the glass with their fingers. It kept going for almost an hour. My God was also aware of it, but he avoided going near the door. What felt strange was this sensation, as if someone was asking me to open the door. However, my dad's voice in my head kept reminding me to stay away and not open it. So, I obeyed my dad and stayed in bed. Eventually, I fell asleep and woke up the next morning. I quickly packed up and left that place and never came back.